Well, Reddit is very, 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 very bent out of shape today. There's a thread from r/whoa that's interesting posted the title of Girls as Young as 7 months old Sold Off into Slavery. Now, obviously, I'm not going to show the video, even though it's just a bunch of people in a tent. They're all fully clothed. There's women there. It's mostly men because it's a very patriarchal culture and religion. But you can see the caption is final payments made for his eldest daughter. She'll be sent to her new blank home, I'm sure. So the comments here are funny, and it's funny because Reddit, the left wing in general, they are such a mixed bag. They really need to prune the idiocy from their faction in order to make any headway because they're all over the place. Just a few days ago, Florida had a couple weeks ago, I think Florida had banned Sharia law in Florida. DeSantis had banned Sharia law in Florida, and everyone lost their minds over it. A lot of people did anyway. There was a couple people, this person said based, there was a couple people who were mad about it, and they were saying that it's evil. Yes, because all of the Sharia law taking hold in Florida. People say this kind of stuff, and then they have no idea. Like they can't see 5 seconds into the future. They don't get it. They just think that it's like the GOP taking control, the Republicans becoming fascists. I grew up in Dearborn, Michigan, by far the highest Muslim concentration in the country. And guess what? Sharia law was never and will never be implemented. Well, there you go. They know the future. Do you think the Native Americans ever expected white people to come over and slaughter them all? And slaughtering is really putting it nicely because many, 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 many horrible things happened to the Native Americans. No, no, no. Of course. Of course, you know the truth of the future. The Muslims who are coming over and spreading their religion, which is the entire purpose of religion, which allows them to control people, that's never going to happen, even though you literally just said you grew up in a place, Dearborn, Michigan, which is mostly Muslim. It's huge. I mean, it's just a giant Muslim enclave. And then here's one from a month ago about Texas, where I mean, you can see this huge thing they posted out. It's jealousy. Someone posted where they're saying that it's religious hypocrisy to ban Sharia law, claiming nonsense like hysterically claiming that Muslims will rape your daughters and behead your sons. So anyway, back to this thread about them enslaving children. More importantly, about how Reddit is angry. What a surprise. All it took was a 1 minute, 30-second long video to prove that Redditors are a bunch of hypocrites. Not only are they mad about this happening, for obvious reasons, they are actually mad at Reddit even for banning them talking about, certain words, the O-phobia word. Removed by Reddit, removed by Reddit, removed by Reddit, fracking censorship. Good that you don't dare to speak your mind, as it should be. They got downvoted for it. Mentioning who did this will get you a ban. According to Reddit, pointing out how effed up this is makes one a blank phobic. So many people getting angry at Reddit, even though they're also defending Islam. Isn't that weird how they're like flip-flopping like that? They can't just stick with something, the left wing. And we in America are still focused on slavery that happened hundreds of years ago and silent about today's. Well, yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what a lot of people have been saying. Just no one on the left wants to hear it because they need that professional victimism in order to push their personal agendas. And this person thinks they're a badass for saying it like that, even though that actually isn't accurate. Calling them slaves is more accurate and actually does sound worse because at that point they are then the property of someone else. But of course, Redditors are too stupid to understand the meaning of the words they say. I've noticed a lot of people getting angry that these people just keep breeding. Like, why are you breeding then? It's like, well, you don't have that problem with New York City, do you? You're totally fine with the people in New York breeding and breeding and breeding and then being given free money and free childcare and free housing by Mamdani. It's like, well, that's different though. They're in America and, they're not white, so it's okay. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, look at this. Trump headed to Afghanistan on urgent business, 20 upvotes. So you're in a thread about children in Afghanistan being enslaved due to religious culturisms, and the first thing you think to do is post a GIF saying that Trump is heading there to buy one. And people liked it. People upvoted it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the left has to get their head out of their ass. They have to pick a lane and stick with it. They can't just keep... You can't hate Islam when you want to hate Islam and then hate Christianity when you want to hate Christianity, and then try and say, oh, well, actually, Jesus was a non-binary badass. Oh, well, actually, Islam's totally fine. It's look at how great Dearborn, Michigan is. You can't just pick and choose whatever you want. And I mean, I've read through quite a lot in this thread, and it's mostly anti-Islam, mostly like anger towards Reddit for censoring them. And yet Reddit will tell you that Christianity is great evil of the world today, interesting indeed. And then someone tries to like sane wash that by saying it's about poverty. It could be about poverty. Do you think there's an entire line of people selling their children because it's poverty? And more importantly, that it's allowed by their government and such. I mean, it's just being recorded and reported on. And someone fact checks him about Jesus here. I don't know if the Christian stuff's particularly accurate, but they do mention, like, why doesn't it happen in any other cultures? Well, it probably does happen in other cultures. That's just that you don't see it, because it does happen in other places. I don't know if it's 7-month-old babies being bought and sold, but it does happen. I have no idea why this person's thanking the Mossad for putting it in his timeline. This is happening here in America too, y'all. Yep. That's right. You've got to make sure to keep it anti-America. It's about somewhere half a world away in their culture, their religion, and you have to make sure it's about America. Trump has a line. Every girl must be at least 7 years old, no exception. Like, again, why do they have to make it about Trump? Why do they have to make it about America? Someone I saw was blaming, like, capitalism for some inexplicable reason. But why? It's nothing to do with us. Keep welcoming Islam into America, and this is what you'll get. And the response is, keep welcoming the U.S. influence and hegemony onto the world, and that's what you'll get. What does it have to do with anything? And then they think they're going to, like, reverse own him by telling him something about Christianity. And they're somehow Uno reversing themselves. And, like, they were all in favor of Islam. Then they saw a bunch of children being enslaved and sold off as slaves, and now they're against Islam. And then they're like, but wait a minute. Christianity's also bad. And so is America. And so are white people. And so are males. I mean, so is capitalism. Holy Christ. Like, they were on the right track. All it took was a 90-second long clip of seeing children being sold off as slaves, and they were back on the right track. And then, just like that, anti-America again. However, it is a divisive thread, which is abnormal for Reddit, for there to be some actual argument, and mostly, I think, on the side of sanity in this particular case. Of course, it's hard not to be on the side of sanity, given how stark the case is. Right above that is a thread or a post criticizing Muslims, and right above that is someone saying that it's probably about poverty rather than the culture. I'm sure poverty does lead people to doing things like that, of course, but the thing is, Reddit likes to post this picture a lot. 4 children for sale, inquire within, and they always say it's within the Great Depression era. I've actually seen this so many times that I myself got psyoped by it, but I did learn a while ago that it wasn't actually from the Great Depression, and that this woman is just a horrible POS. So you see someone's, like, fact-checking them here. I was reading about it. I read about it before, but I refreshed myself. So this woman's just a horrible POS. She was just selling off her children, one of which was one of the boys was, like, chained up and forced to work as a slave. One of the girls, well, I don't know exactly what happened to her, but I apparently she did get kidnapped and bad things happened to her after she was purchased. There's not really much narrative behind that besides she had to go off to live at a woman's shelter for pregnant girls. The other 2, I think, were adopted and treated, like, well enough. Well, she's also pregnant with a 5th one right now that she ended up selling. And then, according to the story, she had 4 more children, and she like 3 or 4 more children with daughters, and that was, like, after she remarried, and the children went back and talked to her, and she did not care about them at all. And the one child, I think it was the baby that had yet to be born from this picture, he said that he had some, like, pity for her because she probably didn't have much of a choice. She was too poor or whatever, and she was just doing what she had to do to survive. And then the other ones, no, they hated her. One of the daughters said she needs to be in hell burning. The son, who was chained up and treated like a slave, he was literally called a slave, said, my birth mother, she never did love me. She didn't apologize for selling me. She hated me so much that she didn't care. So, while I understand that people do what they need to do in order to survive, and sometimes you might feel like, I can't take care of my kid, I just need to give it away. Or sell it, I guess, in some cases. It's not rational to defend people based on that, because you could be wrong. They could just be awful pieces of shite like this lady was. So I understand what they're saying, and I agree that like some of these people are probably there just because they can't take care of their children and they have no choice. So it's kind of like a toss up. Like, do you want to be one of these people who would risk it, and then maybe you die, and then your child's left alone with no one to take care of them? Do you want to sell them off and hope everything goes well? Cross everything you can cross. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Thankfully, I'm not out there screwing people because I know that I'm not in a position to take care of children. And that's really the main problem with these sorts of things. These people don't think 5 seconds in the future. If they did, then they'd know they can't take care of their children. Same problem we have in America. You have these families that have 15 children and they can't take care of them all. And then, well, why did something bad happen? Gee, I wonder. Maybe it's because they're just crappy people, too stupid to think ahead, too stupid to have a high-paying job. I mean, like, if you're a billionaire, yeah, have all the children you want, but you can't be poverty-stricken and have infinite children. It's ridiculous, which is the case in a lot of our major cities right now, which are being bogged down by a bunch of people who are having a bunch of babies. They can't pay rent, and now the cities are paying for their own rent. But that's a different topic, I suppose. I was just sort of fascinated by the fact that Reddit is turning on Islam for the most part. I mean, again, like, they like, well, it's mostly just that they like hating on DeSantis and the Republican Party, but I guess you can sort of that's like sort of like a derivative of Trump derangement syndrome. Like, they're in favor of Islam and Sharia law because they hate Trump and anything that's slightly Trumpish, like DeSantis and such. But they see this and they start to turn against it. They start to like show their true colors when, well, some of them do anyway. Other ones somehow blame it on Trump, blame it on misogyny, blame it on capitalism, blame it on Christianity. I don't know. Maybe those people are Muslims. Who knows? But I just thought it was interesting that the Redditors are turning against Islam, and well, more they say of this, maybe they will eventually completely turn on them, or maybe they'll just go insane since they seem to be attacking everyone, much like Iran. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.